Doctor leaves his office open with money in plain sight, but the janitor's reaction moves him. Dr. Richard Thompson arrived at his office that Tuesday with a heavy heart and a decision that would change everything. 3 months earlier, he had discovered a secret his late wife had taken to the grave, and now he needed to be certain about someone's character before taking the hardest step of his life. That's why he spread stacks of cash across his desk, left the door wide open, and hid in the next room. Through discreetly installed cameras, he would watch every move of Emily Parker, the janitor who had cleaned his office for 3 years, without knowing he held the biggest secret of their lives. Emily arrived at 6 in the morning as she always did. At 28, she supported her sick mother and 2 younger siblings on her janitor's salary. When she pushed open the office door and saw the money scattered there, her first instinct was to run and call security. But something made her stop. It was at least $50,000, maybe more. Enough to pay for her mother's treatment, buy the missing medications, and give her siblings a better life. Her hands trembled as she gripped the mop tighter. Tears welled in her eyes as she thought of everything that money could fix. Dr. Richard watched every expression on her face through the screen. He saw her approach the desk, hesitantly reach toward the stacks, then pull her hand back as if the money burned. He also saw her take a deep breath, grab her cleaning cloth and start wiping around the desk without touching a single bill. "My God, give me strength," Emily whispered, wiping her tears with the back of her gloved hand. She finished cleaning in silence, gathered her supplies and left the office, carefully closing the door behind her. Dr. Richard stayed hidden for another 10 minutes, processing what he had witnessed. The answer he sought was there, clear as crystal. But the money test was only the first step of a much bigger plan. Dr. Richard had deep reasons to question Emily's honesty, reasons that traced back to a devastating discovery he had made after losing his wife 6 months earlier. While sorting through Jennifer's belongings, he had found a hidden folder at the back of the closet. Inside were adoption papers, certificates, and a photo that made him understand why his daughter Emma, now 15, had always asked about her origins. Jennifer had lied all those years. Emma wasn't an orphan as they had believed. Her birth mother had given her up for adoption at 16, pressured by her family. And the most shocking part, that birth mother worked in the same building where he had practiced for 3 years. It was Emily Parker, the quiet janitor who always lowered her eyes when he passed her in the hallways. The documents revealed Emily had tried to reverse the adoption in the early years, but the Thompson family had influence and resources. The case was dismissed, and she lost the right to see her daughter. What Dr. Richard later discovered through discreet investigations was that Emily had never stopped searching. She had taken the janitor job in the medical building 3 years earlier, not by chance, but because she had learned the Thompsons frequented those offices. It was her way of being near her daughter, even if she couldn't reveal herself. In the following days, Dr. Richard watched Emily with new eyes. He noticed how she always paused in front of the family photos on his desk, how her eyes filled with tears when she saw Emma's picture from her high school graduation. He also saw how respected she was by the other staff, always willing to help, always honest. Emma began accompanying her father to the office more often in those days. Dr. Richard wanted to observe if there would be any instinctive recognition between mother and daughter. And there was. Whenever they passed each other in the hallways, both would pause for a second, as if something inexplicable connected them. "Dad, who is that cleaning lady?" Emma asked one afternoon. "She always looks at me in a strange way." "Strange how?" Dr. Richard pretended disinterest, but his heart raced. "I can't explain it. It's like she knows me from somewhere, and when she smiles at me, I feel something weird here in my chest." Dr. Richard knew the time had come to act, but first, he needed absolute certainty about Emily's character. He couldn't risk Emma's happiness based solely on old documents. He needed to know the person Emily had become. That's when he devised the money test. If she were dishonest, if she took advantage of the situation to solve her financial problems, he would know she wasn't the right person to be part of Emma's life. But if she resisted temptation, if she maintained her integrity even in the face of so much personal hardship, then he would know he could trust her. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The test had been a success, but Dr. Richard still wasn't ready for the revelation. He decided to observe Emily more closely, talk to her, and get to know her personality. That's when he began noticing details that moved him deeply. Emily worked 2 shifts to support her family. In the mornings, she cleaned the medical building, and in the afternoons, she worked as a house cleaner for families. Even so, she was studying at night to finish high school, which she had dropped out of when she got pregnant. "Dr. Richard," she said one day shyly when he found her organizing files, "would you mind if I studied here in the office after hours? It's just that at home, there's no quiet space, and here it's easier to concentrate." "Of course I don't mind, Emily. What course are you taking?" "I'm finishing high school, doctor. I've always dreamed of becoming a nurse, you know. I like taking care of people." Dr. Richard felt a tightness in his chest. Jennifer had always dreamed of being a nurse too before marrying him, and now he discovered that Emma's biological mother shared the same dream. In the following days, Dr. Richard began leaving basic medical books on the table, pretending to forget them. He noticed how Emily handled them carefully, reading passages during her cleaning breaks. Her intelligence was evident, as was her thirst for knowledge. "Emily," he said one day, "have you ever thought about taking a nursing technician course? I know some institutions that offer scholarships." Her eyes lit up for a moment, but quickly dimmed. "Thank you for the suggestion, doctor, but I can't afford it. Even with a scholarship, I'd have to leave one of my jobs to attend classes. I can't risk my family's income." "What if I offered you a job here at the office, as an administrative assistant, with flexible hours so you can study?" Emily looked at him with suspicion. She wasn't used to kindness without an apparent reason. "Why would you do this for me, doctor?" Dr. Richard improvised quickly. "I need someone trustworthy to organize files and answer the phone. You already know the routine here. You're punctual, honest. It would be perfect for everyone." Emily accepted the offer with tears in her eyes. She didn't know Dr. Richard was fulfilling the first part of a bigger plan, bringing her closer to Emma and creating opportunities for them to get to know each other better. With Emily working at the office, her encounters with Emma became more frequent. Dr. Richard watched their interactions carefully. There was an undeniable connection between them, but also an invisible barrier that prevented a closer bond. Emma was a smart and curious teenager, but she carried the pain of not knowing her origins. Even though she had been loved by her adoptive parents, she had always felt an emptiness she couldn't explain. Emily's presence stirred confusing feelings in her. "Dad, can I ask you a weird question?" Emma said one day, while waiting for her father to finish an appointment. "Of course, sweetheart. What is it? Don't you think I look like Emily? The way her eyes are, the shape of her face?" Dr. Richard nearly choked on his coffee. "I don't know. I never noticed. Why do you ask?" "It's just that everyone always says I don't look like you or Mom, and when I see Emily, it's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror a few years from now." "That's just your imagination, Emma. Some people just happen to look alike." But Emma had planted a seed of suspicion in her own mind. She began observing Emily more closely, noticing not just the physical similarities, but also small gestures, mannerisms, even the way she twisted her hair when she was nervous. Emily, for her part, fought the urge to get closer to Emma. She knew one wrong move could destroy any chance of being near her daughter, but it was hard to control her emotions when she saw the girl she had carried in her womb for 9 months. One day, Emma arrived at the office with a high fever. Dr. Richard was in surgery at the hospital, and Emily found herself alone with the teenager who had fainted in the waiting room. "Emma, wake up," Emily whispered, cradling the girl's face in her hands. "Come on, I'll take you to the hospital." In the taxi ride, Emma was delirious with fever. In her murmurs, she called for a mother who wasn't Jennifer, but someone who hummed a specific melody. Emily recognized the song immediately. It was the same one she had sung to her belly during pregnancy. "Will she be okay?" Emily asked the on-call doctor with a concern that went beyond professionalism. "It's just a bad virus. With a few days of rest, she'll recover." "Are you a relative of hers?" Emily hesitated for what felt like an eternity. I'm a family friend." Dr. Richard arrived at the hospital 2 hours later, finding Emily still in the waiting room, refusing to leave until she knew Emma was all right. "Emily, you didn't have to stay. I know you have work this afternoon." "I couldn't focus on work knowing she was sick, doctor, and if she were my daughter, I'd want someone to care for her like this." Emily's words hit Dr. Richard like a punch to the gut. She had spoken the truth without realizing it. Emma was her daughter, and she had cared for her like a mother would. That night, Dr. Richard made a decision. It was time to tell Emma the truth. He could no longer uphold the lie Jennifer had created, especially seeing the silent suffering of both women. "Emma, I need to talk to you about something very important," he said when they got home. "It's about Emily, isn't it?" Emma surprised him. "I know there's something you're not telling me." "What do you mean?" "Dad, I'm not stupid. The way you look at each other, how she gets nervous around me, how you've changed since she started working at the office. And today at the hospital, she was more worried about me than most relatives would be." Dr. Richard realized he could no longer delay the conversation. Emma was too smart and had already connected some dots. "Sit down, sweetheart. What I'm about to tell you will change everything you know about your story." For the next 2 hours, Dr. Richard told her everything: the discovery of the documents, the truth about the adoption, Emily's identity. Emma listened in silence, tears streaming down her face. "So, she didn't abandon me?" was her first question. "No, sweetheart. She was forced to give you up, and she never stopped looking for you." "And how long have you known about this?" 3 months. But I needed to be sure about her character before telling you." "That's why the money test," Emma concluded. "You wanted to know if she was honest." Dr. Richard was surprised by his daughter's insight. "How did you know about the test?" "I saw it, Dad. I came early that day to study here and saw you hiding in the other room. I also saw when Emily came in, noticed the money, cried and kept cleaning without taking anything." "And how did you feel at that moment?" Emma stayed silent for a few minutes, processing her emotions. "I felt proud," she finally admitted. "Proud that my birth mother was an honest person. But I also felt angry at you for testing her like that." "Emma?" "No, Dad. Let me finish. I understand why you did it. But she didn't deserve to be tested like a lab animal. She deserved to know the truth just like I did." Dr. Richard realized he had underestimated Emma's maturity. The teenager was right. Emily deserved to know the truth, and they both deserved the chance to meet without more games or tests. "What do you want to do now?" he asked. "I want to meet my birth mother, for real. I want to know why she gave me up, how it was for her, what she felt all these years, and I want her to know I don't blame her for anything." The next morning, Dr. Richard called Emily into his office for a talk. She arrived nervous, thinking she had done something wrong. "Emily, please sit. I need to tell you something." "Did I do something wrong, doctor? If it's about the books I borrow, I always take good care." "It's not about the books, it's about Emma." The mention of her daughter's name made Emily go pale. "Emma? Did something happen to her?" "Emily," Dr. Richard took a deep breath. "I know who you are." The silence that followed was deafening. Emily stared at him, confused, then slowly understanding dawned on her face. "You know what?" she whispered. "I know you're Emma's birth mother. I know you gave her up for adoption at 16. I know you never stopped searching for her." Emily began to tremble. Tears welled in her eyes, but she couldn't speak. "I also know," Dr. Richard continued, "that you took this job to be close to her, that you love her more than anything in this world. And I know you're a good, honest person who deserves to meet your daughter." How did you find out?" she managed to ask. "My wife kept the adoption papers. I found them after she passed, and since then, I've been watching you, trying to understand what kind of person you've become." "That's why the money test," Emily concluded, remembering that strange day. "That's why the test. I'm sorry, Emily. I know it was cruel, but I had to protect Emma. I had to be sure you wouldn't hurt her." "And now? What happens now?" "Now you'll meet your daughter. She already knows everything and really wants to talk to you." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing, Emma was waiting in the next room. When Dr. Richard called her, she walked in with her heart pounding so loudly she was sure everyone could hear it. The first meeting between mother and daughter, knowing the truth, was silent. They looked at each other for long minutes, recognizing one another, seeing each other, trying to absorb 15 years of separation. "Hi," Emma finally said. "Hi," Emily replied, her voice choked. "You're much younger than I imagined," Emma continued. "You were just a kid when you had me." "I was your age," Emily confirmed. 16 years old, just a scared child. "What happened? Why did you give me up?" Emily took a deep breath. This was the question she had both feared and longed to answer for 15 years. "Your maternal grandparents found out about my pregnancy and kicked me out of the house. They said I had brought shame to the family. I lived on the streets for a few weeks until a social worker found me." Emma listened in silence, absorbing every word. "I wanted to raise you," Emily continued. "Even though I was so young, I loved you from the moment I knew you existed. But they told me a 16-year-old girl with no family, no money, no home, couldn't give you a decent life. And you believed that?" "I was a child, Emma, and I was terrified. When I saw the family who wanted to adopt you, Dr. Richard and Jennifer, I thought you'd be happy. They had everything I couldn't give you. But you tried to get me back. I did. For 2 years I fought in court to get you back. But the Thompsons had resources, lawyers, influence. I was just a poor girl with no education, no support. The judge ruled it was best for you to stay where you were." Emma stepped closer to her birth mother and for the first time in 15 years touched her face. "I don't blame you," she said. "You did what you thought was best for me. And you know what? You were right. Dad and Mum gave me so much love." "I know," Emily smiled through her tears. "I could see how happy you were whenever you came here. I saw it in your photos, in your smile. That's the only thing that gave me peace all these years. But now I want to know you too. I want to hear about my mother all these years. I want to meet my grandparents, my uncles, all the family I never knew." Emily was silent for a moment. "Emma, your grandparents. They deeply regretted what they did. They tried to find me a few years later, but I was too angry and wouldn't let them. Now I understand they were young and scared too. Do they know about me?" "They do. And they dream of meeting you. Your uncles too. You have 2 uncles born after me, and they grew up hearing about you. Everyone wants to meet you." Emma looked at Dr. Richard. "Dad, can I meet my other family?" "Of course, sweetheart. They're part of your story too." In the days that followed, Dr. Richard watched with joy as Emma and Emily grew closer. They talked for hours, making up for 15 lost years. Emma shared stories of her childhood, her fears, her dreams. Emily spoke of her years of searching, her hard work, the studies she had returned to. "You know what's amazing?" Emma said one day. "We like the same things, music, books, even how we organize stuff. It's like I got it from you genetically." "That's what science says," Emily laughed. "But I think it's also the heart recognizing the heart." Meeting her biological family was emotional. Emma's grandparents, Mrs. Margaret and Mr. Robert, now 55, wept when they saw their granddaughter for the first time. They had bitterly regretted turning Emily away and spent years trying to make amends. "My granddaughter," Mrs. Margaret cried, hugging Emma. "You're so beautiful, just like your mother at your age." Emma's uncles, Brian, 22, and Tyler, 19, welcomed her like the older sister they'd never known. They had grown up hearing about their niece and always dreamed of meeting her. "Finally, our family is complete," Brian said, moved. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Blending 2 families isn't simple, and soon the first conflicts arose. Emma, accustomed to upper-middle-class life, was shocked by her biological family's financial reality. It wasn't judgment, but rather the cultural differences that created small frictions. "Mom," she said to Emily one day, "why won't you accept help from Dad? He offered to pay for better treatment for Grandma Margaret." "Because it's not his obligation, Emma. Your father has already done so much for us by giving me a job and allowing you to get to know us. We can't take advantage of his generosity." But it's not generosity, it's family helping family. We are your biological family, Emily explained patiently. But Dr. Richard is your real father. He raised you, educated you, loves you. We are an addition to your life, not a replacement. Emma began to understand the delicacy of the situation. Emily was being careful not to usurp Dr. Richard's place in the girl's life, but at the same time, this created a barrier between them. "Emily," Emma said one day, "can I call you Mom?" The question took Emily by surprise. "Emma, you already have a mum. Jennifer was your mum for 15 years. Mum Jennifer will always be my mum. But you're also my mum. You carried me, gave birth to me, loved me. Why can't I call you Mum too? And how would you tell me apart from Jennifer?" Emma thought for a moment. "She's my mom. You can be my mommy." The affectionate nickname made Emily cry with emotion. It was more than she had ever dreamed of having the right to after so many years, but the challenges were just beginning. The medical building supervisor, Karen, had noticed the closeness between Dr. Richard, Emily, and Emma. A jealous and gossipy woman, she began spreading malicious rumors. "Have you seen how the doctor treats the janitor differently now?" she commented to other staff. "Gave her a better job, leaves his teenage daughter alone with her. That's not normal." "What are you implying, Karen?" asked one of the nurses. "I'm implying that a young, pretty woman like Emily knows very well how to get things from a wealthy widower, and using his daughter to do it." The rumors reached Emma at school. A classmate, the daughter of one of the building's nurses, mentioned it during recess. "Emma, is it true your dad is dating the janitor?" "What?" Emma was shocked. "My mum said everyone in the building is talking about it, that the janitor is seducing your dad and using you to get to him." Emma came home furious. She confronted Dr. Richard, demanding an explanation. "Dad, people are saying you're dating Emily, that she's taking advantage of you. Emma, that's ridiculous. Emily is your biological mother. Our relationship is based solely on the family's well-being. Then why are people saying this? Because people love to gossip and make up stories where none exist. Ignore those comments." But Emma couldn't ignore them. The rumors deeply bothered her, not because she believed them, but because she saw how they affected Emily. When Emily heard the rumors, she was devastated. She had worked so hard to build an honest reputation, and now she saw it all being destroyed by envy and malice. "Dr. Richard," she said with tears in her eyes, "I think it's best if I leave the job. I don't want these rumors to harm your reputation or Emma's." "Emily, you're not leaving. The people spreading these rumors should be ashamed." "But what if Emma starts believing them? What if she thinks I'm really trying to take advantage of the situation?" Emma, who had been listening at the door, entered the room. "Mommy, I would never believe that. I know who you are. I know you love me for real and aren't trying to take advantage of anyone. But what about school, your friends?" "My real friends will understand, and those who don't aren't worth keeping as friends." The situation grew more complicated when Karen decided to take the rumors to the building's administration. She filed a formal complaint, alleging that Dr. Richard Thompson was having inappropriate relations with a subordinate employee. The administration called Dr. Richard in for a meeting. He was forced to explain the whole situation, revealing the family connection between Emily and Emma to justify the preferential treatment. "Dr. Thompson," said the administrator, "we understand the situation, but you must realize this sets a complicated precedent. Other employees may question why Emily gets special treatment." "She doesn't get special treatment. She's competent, dedicated, and honest. She deserves the job she has. But admit that knowing about the relationship influenced your decision to promote her." Dr. Richard had to admit it did. The truth was hard to explain without sounding like nepotism. The situation reached home when Emma overheard Dr. Richard and Emily discussing the possibility of her returning to her previous job, just cleaning, to avoid more trouble. "No!" Emma shouted, joining the conversation. "You're not going to let those mean people destroy our family." "Emma, it's not that simple," explained Dr. Richard. "Yes, it is, Dad. Mommy studied, got qualified, and does her job well. She deserves the position she has. And if people don't like it, that's their problem, not ours. But the rumors only exist because Karen is jealous. Everyone knows that. Why are you giving her the power to ruin our happiness? Emma was right, and both Dr. Richard and Emily knew it. But it was hard to ignore the social and professional pressure. The solution came from where they least expected it. The other employees in the building, tired of Karen's attitude, decided to take a stand. They had observed Emily's work over the years and knew of her competence and honesty. "Dr. Thompson," said the head nurse, Sarah, "we'd like to make a statement in Emily's defense." "What do you mean?" "We've all worked with her for 3 years. We know she's an upright, hard-working and capable person. The rumors Karen is spreading are false and malicious." Sarah had prepared a document signed by all the building's employees, except Karen, attesting to Emily's good character and professional competence. "Besides," Sarah continued, "we know Karen is spreading these rumors out of jealousy. She always wanted to work directly with the doctors, but was never promoted due to her own incompetence." The document was presented to the administration, which decided to investigate Karen's claims more thoroughly. They discovered she had made several baseless accusations against other employees in the past, always motivated by envy or resentment. Karen was transferred to another department, far from Emily and Dr. Richard. The situation calmed down, but left its scars. "Mommy," Emma said one day, "are you sad because of those rumors?" "A little," Emily admitted. "I don't like it when people speak ill of me, especially when it's not true." "You know what I learned from all this?" "What?" "That it doesn't matter what people say. What matters is the truth in our hearts. And in my heart, I know you're a good person who loves me and deserves all the happiness in the world." Emma's words touched Emily deeply. The 15-year-old had shown impressive maturity throughout the crisis, but life still had more challenges in store for the newly reunited family. During a routine checkup, Dr. Richard discovered Emma had a health issue that had gone unnoticed. "Emma, the tests show an irregularity in your kidneys," he explained, trying to keep his voice calm. "Is it serious, Dad?" "We need more tests to be sure, but there's a possibility you could develop a hereditary kidney disease." Emily, who was present at the appointment, turned pale. "Hereditary?" "Yes. It's something that can be genetically inherited." Emily began to tremble. There was something she had never told anyone, not even Emma. "Dr. Richard," she said, her voice shaking, "I need to tell you something." "What is it, Emily?" "My grandmother, my mum's mother, she passed away from kidney problems. And my mum also has kidney issues, which is why she's on treatment." The revelation changed everything. Emma's tests needed to be more detailed, and the results confirmed Dr. Richard's worst fears. "Emma has a strong genetic predisposition to develop chronic kidney disease," explained the nephrologist. "Over time, she may need a transplant." "How long?" asked Emma, surprisingly calm. "It's hard to predict. It could be 5 years, it could be 10. It depends on many factors, but it's important we start preventive treatment right away." Emily was crushed by guilt. The illness Emma might develop came from her through genetic inheritance. "It's my fault," she cried. "I passed this on to her." "Mommy, it's not your fault," Emma comforted her. "You didn't choose to have this genetics. And besides, we don't even know if I'll develop the disease. But what if you do? What if you need a transplant? Then we'll face it together, as a family." Dr. Richard was impressed by Emma's maturity in the face of the news. She seemed more concerned about comforting Emily than about her own health. In the following months, Emma began preventive treatment, medications, a special diet, regular medical checkups. Emily devoted herself entirely to caring for her, learning about the disease, the treatments, and future possibilities. "Emily," Dr. Richard said one day, "you've studied more about kidney disease than many doctors I know." "She's my daughter, doctor. I need to understand everything that could happen to her. Have you thought about pursuing nursing? With all the knowledge you've gained, you'd make an excellent nurse." "How can I think about studying when Emma is sick?" "Emma isn't sick, Emily. She has a predisposition. She may never develop the disease. And even if she does, you'll be more helpful to her with professional knowledge in the field." The idea made sense to Emily, but she still resisted the possibility of stepping away, even partially, from caring for Emma. "Mommy," said Emma, who had overheard the conversation. "Dad is right. You should study nursing. Imagine how great it would be to have a kidney specialist nurse in the family. But what if you need me while I'm studying? I have Dad too, and Grandma Margaret and my uncles. I have a whole family now. You can study without worry." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing, Emily decided to enroll in a nursing program. Dr. Richard helped with tuition and adjusted her work schedule so she could attend classes. During the first semester, Emily stood out as one of the top students. Her personal experience with kidney disease and her dedication to her studies impressed both teachers and classmates. Emma watched her biological mother's progress with pride. She herself had grown interested in the medical field and began taking preparatory courses for medical school. "You know what would be amazing," she said one day. "If you became a nurse, I became a doctor, and we worked together in the same specialty." "Are you sure you want to pursue medicine?" asked Dr. Richard. "Yes, Dad. I want to help people the way you're helping me, and I want to research kidney diseases to find better cures." Emma's determination inspired the whole family. Even facing a possible illness in the future, she was using the experience to find her life's purpose, but life still had more twists in store. During the second semester of Emily's course, Emma fell ill at school. She was rushed to the hospital, where Dr. Richard Thompson discovered the disease had progressed faster than they expected. "Emma will need a transplant," said the nephrologist, "probably within the next 2 years." The news was devastating for everyone. Emma, who had remained optimistic until then, finally broke down. "Why me, Dad?" she cried. "I barely knew my biological mom, and now I'm going to die." "You're not going to die, Emma," said Dr. Richard, holding her. "We'll find a donor. We'll do the transplant." "But what if we don't find a compatible donor in time?" Emily, who had stayed silent during the conversation, finally spoke. "I'll donate my kidney to you." "Mommy, no. You could develop the disease too." "It doesn't matter. You're my daughter. If I can save your life, I will." Dr. Richard explained that compatibility between mother and daughter wasn't always guaranteed, but they would run all the necessary tests. While waiting for the results, the family endured weeks of anxiety. Emma tried to maintain normality, continuing her studies and treatment. Emily split her time between nursing school and caring for her daughter. "Emily," Dr. Richard said one day, "are you sure about the donation? Even if you're compatible, it's a risky surgery." "I'm absolutely sure. I spent 15 years away from my daughter. I won't lose any more time with her because of fear. What if something goes wrong during the surgery? Then at least I'll have tried. Emma deserves a full life, and if I can give that to her, I will." The compatibility test results were surprising. Emily wasn't a match to donate her kidney to Emma. The incompatibility was rare, but it happened in some cases. Emma was devastated. She had grown used to the idea of receiving a kidney from her biological mother as a symbolic way of finally receiving something from her. "What now?" she asked, crying. "Now we'll look for other donors in the family," said Dr. Richard. "Your uncles, your grandparents, everyone will be tested." Brian and Tyler, Emma's uncles, immediately volunteered for testing. Her grandparents, despite their advanced age, also wanted to try. "Niece," said Brian, "I've always dreamed of having the chance to do something important for you. This is my opportunity." The tests revealed that Tyler, the younger uncle, was a perfect match. At 19, he was willing to donate his kidney to his niece. "Uncle, are you sure?" Emma asked. "You're so young. You have your whole life ahead of you." "Exactly because I'm young that I can do this. My body will recover more easily. And besides, you're family. Family doesn't abandon family." The surgery was scheduled for a month later. During that time, Tyler underwent all the pre-op tests, while Emma continued treatment to stay stable until the transplant. Emily felt useless for not being able to donate, but Dr. Richard helped her see that her contribution was far greater than she realized. "Emily, you studied nursing specifically to take better care of Emma. You'll be essential during her and Tyler's recovery." "But I wanted to give her something physical, like Tyler is doing." You've already given the most important thing, life, and now you're giving knowledge, care, love. That's no less important than a kidney. On the eve of the surgery, the whole family gathered at the hospital. Emma was nervous but determined. "Everyone," she said, "I want to say something. No matter what happens tomorrow, I want you all to know that these last few months have been the best of my life." "Why?" asked Mrs. Margaret, the grandmother. "Because finally, I have a complete family. My dad, who has always been my hero. Mommy, who gave me life twice, when she carried me and when she found me. My uncles, who are like older brothers. My grandparents, who give me so much love. I feel loved and protected." "And you'll keep feeling that way," said Tyler, "because tomorrow we're going to solve this problem for good." The surgery was a success. Both Emma and Tyler recovered well, and within a few weeks they were back to their normal routines. Emma returned to her studies with renewed energy. She had decided to specialize in nephrology, inspired by her own experience and her desire to help other kidney patients. Emily graduated from nursing school with honors and was hired by the very hospital where Emma had undergone surgery. Her specialization in renal care and her personal experience made her a highly sought-after professional. Dr. Richard Thompson watched his family's transformation with satisfaction. Emma was healthy and determined. Emily had found her professional calling, and he himself had discovered that family isn't just about blood relationships. It's about love, commitment, and mutual support. 2 years after the transplant, Emma was accepted into medical school with one of the highest entrance exam scores. Emily was pursuing her nursing degree, aiming to specialize further. "Dad," Emma said one day, "do you regret telling me the truth?" "Never," Dr. Richard replied. "It was the best decision I ever made. Our family became stronger and more complete." "And you, Mommy?" Emma asked Emily. "Do you regret giving me up for adoption?" Emily thought carefully before responding. "Emma, I regret the circumstances that forced me to give you up. But I don't regret the decision itself. If I hadn't given you up, you wouldn't have had the life you had with your father and Jennifer. You wouldn't be the intelligent, confident young woman you are today. But you suffered for 15 years. I did suffer, but that suffering also made me stronger, more determined, and more grateful for every moment I have with you now. I think everything happened the way it was supposed to." Emma hugged both her father and her biological mother. "I'm lucky to have two parents who love me so much that they were willing to sacrifice for my happiness." The story of their family became known in the hospital community. Many people were inspired by how they had overcome challenges through love, honesty, and mutual support. Dr. Richard began participating in support groups for adoptive families, sharing his experience about the importance of transparency and the possibility of positive relationships with biological families. Emily became an advocate for young mothers in difficult situations, helping them understand their options and supporting them regardless of their decisions. Emma started volunteering in the pediatric nephrology ward, using her own experience to comfort young patients and their families. The small medical office where it all began, where Emily had once faced the temptation of easy money and chosen honesty, became a symbol of integrity for everyone who worked there. 5 years after the revelation, Emma graduated from medical school and was accepted into a nephrology residency program. Emily had completed her nursing degree and was working as a specialized nurse in the same unit where Emma would train. "Can you imagine?" Emma said during her graduation party. "In a few months we'll be working together, the daughter as a doctor, the mother as a nurse taking care of kidney patients." "It's like destiny," observed Dr. Richard. "No, Dad, it's not destiny, it's choice. We all chose to build this family together. We chose to overcome the obstacles. We chose to love each other despite all the difficulties." Dr. Richard Thompson looked around at the party. Emma's two families were there, the Thompsons and the Parkers, former colleagues from the medical building, professors from nursing school, friends from medical school, everyone celebrating not just Emma's graduation, but the triumph of a family that had found each other against all odds. The woman who had started as a simple house cleaner had become a specialized nurse. The doctor, who had started as a grieving widower, had found new purpose in uniting families. The teenager, who had started questioning her origins, had found not just answers, but a mission in life. 6 months later, on a Tuesday morning very similar to the one when it all began, Dr. Richard arrived at his office and found Emma and Emily working together, preparing for the day's appointments. "Good morning, family," he said, smiling. "Good morning, Dad, Dr. Richard." They responded in unison, then laughed at the synchronization. Dr. Richard sat at the same desk where he had once spread money to test Emily's honesty. Now, instead of money, there were medical files, study materials, and family photos showing 3 generations united. He thought about how life is unpredictable, how a simple honesty test had revealed not just the character of a person, but had opened the door to healing old wounds and building new relationships. The final test hadn't been about money at all. It had been about love, forgiveness, and the capacity of people to grow and change. And in that test, they had all passed with flying colors. Emma, now Dr. Emma Thompson Parker, she had decided to hyphenate her surname to honor both families, looked at her father and biological mother working together and felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had gained more than just health through the kidney transplant. She had gained a complete understanding of who she was, where she came from, and where she was going. Emily, now Nurse Emily Parker, looked at her daughter in her white coat and felt a pride that was different from anything she had experienced before. It wasn't just the pride of a mom seeing her child succeed, but the pride of someone who had played an active role in that success. Dr. Richard observed his expanded family and realized that love isn't diminished when shared with more people. On the contrary, it grows. Emma's love for him hadn't diminished because she had found Emily. His love for Emma had become stronger because he now understood her history completely. That afternoon, as they closed the office together, Emily asked, "Dr. Richard, do you ever wonder what would have happened if I had taken the money that day?" "Sometimes," he admitted, "but I prefer not to think about it. I prefer to focus on what did happen." "And what happened?" "What happened is that your honesty opened the door to the truth. And the truth, even when it's painful at first, is always liberating in the end." Emma, who was organizing the last files of the day, added, "The truth is what allowed us to be here today, working together, taking care of other people. If there had been lies between us, this would never have been possible." As they left the building together, the 3 of them walking side by side, Dr. Richard reflected on how that simple honesty test had transformed all their lives. The money had been returned to the bank the same day, but the riches they had gained, love, family, purpose, integrity, those were treasures that no amount of money could buy. And as they walked into the sunset, their shadows intertwining on the sidewalk, they knew that whatever challenges the future might bring, they would face them together, as a family forged not just by blood or adoption, but by choice, truth, and unconditional love. The medical building behind them stood as a silent witness to the transformation that had occurred within its walls. From a place of work, it had become a place of reunion, healing, and new beginnings. And in the office where it all began, the cleaning supplies sat ready for the next day, a reminder that sometimes the most profound changes begin with the simplest acts of integrity and honesty. The end of the story. Now tell us what you thought of this touching story. Do you believe Emily made the right choice by resisting the temptation of the money? How would you have acted in her place? Share your honest thoughts about this family that was reunited through honesty. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.